Brazilian protesters say the president's pandemic response hasn't just been irresponsible or incompetent, but genocidal. More than 500,000 people are dead, but that's likely a fraction of the true toll. A growing number of citizens say much of the blame lies directly with Jair Bolsonaro, the leader who rebukes science and containment measures. It's not just Bolsonaro's handling of COVID-19 that has protesters so riled. The president is being investigated in the Senate over embezzlement allegations linked to the purchase of vaccines.
Now, hundreds of districts in Afghanistan have fallen victim to Taliban's terror. Now, a latest report by a rights commission has revealed as many as 33 people were assassinated in Afghanistan's southern Kandahar province over the past 2 weeks. According to Afghanistan Independent Human Rights Commission, human rights defenders, journalists, religious scholars, civil society activists are being sacrificed in attacks. The organization has called the attacks on civilians a war crime. Taliban insurgents took control of Kandahar's Spin-Boldak border crossing with Pakistan earlier this month. They later conducted searches to identify residents who have worked for the local government or security forces. Hundreds of residents were detained, whom the Taliban accused of association with the government.
Border agents intercepting nearly 200 migrants, illegals, by the Arizona border on Wednesday. 147 of them kids. This just days after Fox captured this footage of nearly 300 migrants, illegals, trying to push their way past Border Patrol in Texas.
What needs to be done right now is we need to secure the border. We need to build the wall, provide money to surge the guard to the border. Biden is derelict in his duty, not doing that. And you can see 147 of 200, nearly 3-to-1. This is organized by the cartels. It's what we've been saying for the last 4 months. It's human trafficking and drugs at the southwest border. Our communities are less safe. Border security is much more than national security. It's human security here in Arizona.
Now, ahead of his much-anticipated visit to the White House, Iraqi Prime Minister Mustafa Al-Kadhimi has said on Friday that his country no longer requires U.S. combat troops to fight the Islamic State group in the region. During an exclusive interview with the Associated Press on Friday, Al-Kadhimi said that Iraq will still ask for U.S. training and military intelligence gathering to combat ISIS threat in the war-torn nation. He spoke ahead of a planned trip to Washington, where he is due to meet U.S. President Joe Biden.
Happy Pride Budapest!
Thousands of Hungarians joined the annual Budapest Pride March on Saturday to support LGBTQ people and protest against a law that limits teaching about homosexuality and transgender issues in schools. Hungary's nationalist Prime Minister Viktor Orbán, in power since 2010, has introduced social policies that he says aim to safeguard traditional Christian values from Western liberalism. Organisers said in a statement the rally was against power-hungry politicians who used laws to make members of the LGBTQ community, quote, outcasts in their own country. Orbán's law, which came into force this month, has stoked tensions with the European Union, which has launched legal action against the government.
Tear gas and water cannon across Europe and growing anger over coronavirus restrictions. In Athens, Greek police tried to break up protests against compulsory COVID-19 vaccinations. Some in the crowd threw petrol bombs. The police responded with tear gas. The rally outside the Greek parliament was the third this month against mandatory inoculations for some workers, including healthcare and nursing staff. The mood was the same at a demonstration in Paris. There, tear gas filled the air as protesters opposed to a government virus pass faced off against riot police. This was just one of dozens of mainly peaceful rallies across the country, which brought out more than 160,000 people.
SAPRA is evaluating the medical records of 28 people who died after taking the COVID-19 vaccine. 24 of them had taken the Pfizer jab. The authority has received over 3,700 reports of adverse effects.
There is no vaccine on earth that doesn't have, in a very small number of people, some kind of adverse events. And the 3,730 reports received by SAPRA, if you break that down, it was 279 events of special interest, which means that they were more serious, and there were 28 fatalities that they are investigating. Now, what I have anecdotally seen from those 28, most of them were in the elderly, that from what I have seen.
Huila Province, southern Angola. Months of no rain have sucked life out of the vast region and brought communities to near starvation. People have to trek several kilometers to find water or fruits, for which they have to compete with wildlife. Angola's government recently began building 3 water projects in the provinces of Cunene and Huila. The water ministry said the dams will significantly reduce the impact of the drought in the affected regions. The project, valued at $630 million, rests on the diversion of the flow of major rivers. But environmentalists have voiced concerns about possible damage to fragile ecosystems, which could aggravate climate change.